March 29th, 1985. The Strong Vincent Colonels battle the Nanticoke Trojans for the PIAA Class AAA State Basketball Championship. The site is the Hershey Park Arena in Hershey, Pennsylvania, and WJET-TV is proud to bring you this pregame show. Good evening, I'm John Evans, Sports Director here at TV 24, and we're glad you could join us for tonight's championship game. We'll be switching live to Ken White and the rest of the broadcast team at the Hershey Park Arena in about 30 minutes. In the meantime, I'll be here to talk about the Strong Vincent Nanticoke contest. We'll speak with the starting five for the Strong Vincent Colonels, as well as head coach Pete Flynn. And I'll be joined by former Cathedral Prep basketball coach Bill Flaherty to discuss what it's like to be involved in the state finals. First of all, just a word about how we're bringing you this game tonight. For the third year in a row, WJET is televising a state championship from Hershey, but this is the first year we are using state-of-the-art satellite technology. The television signal will be beamed up to the SpaceNet satellite, which is located 24,000 miles above the southeastern United States. The signal then bounces back down to our downlink facilities here at TV 24, all within a fraction of a second. I'll be back with our Strong Vincent player profiles when our pregame show continues. The Vincent team has a season record of 28 wins and only 1 loss. This year's Colonel squad is made up of 4 seniors and 1 junior, and head coach Pete Flynn has found them to be very easy to work with. I spoke with Coach Flynn and all 5 starting players this week before they left for Hershey, and here's what they had to say. Although the defense keeps opponents struggling, it still takes offensive punch to score points, and the Colonels can hit you inside or from the outside. The playmaker for Strong Vincent is Mike Smith. The 6-foot senior runs the offense and has contributed greatly to the Strong Colonel defense. Smith, who also connects for 6 points a game, is probably the most underrated member of Flynn's crew.
I think everybody thought at the beginning of the year that our point guard was going to be maybe our weak link. And I think Michael has proved beyond all doubt that he's probably one of the strongest parts of our game. He has just handled any pressure that they've thrown at him, and he's a leader, and he runs the offense. He plays great defense. He's done everything a good point guard should do.
It's my job. I run the show, so I direct everything, keep them going, keep them together.
What do you think about going to the state finals in Hershey? Can you believe this is happening to you?
I didn't really plan on it, but I was hoping. It's a dream that seemed to come true. And I think now when we get there, I was going to take everything. This is our year.
A threat from outside as well as inside is senior forward Dan Gianelli. The 6'3" forward has averaged 6 tallies a game while providing the Colonels with a balanced attack.
Forward. He's such a great role player. You know, he could shoot the ball more, and he could do a lot more things. His ability is a lot more than he's shown this year, but he knows that his role is to rebound, play good defense, and hit the shots when he's open, and he's done just a super job at that.
I'm just a basic role player. I'm out there to pick up garbage man on the boards, get whatever I can. I'm just playing with those guys. Those guys are the main show. I'm just out there to do what I can.
When the red and black go to their outside game, they usually turn to 5'10" junior sharpshooter Matt Harris. The second leading scorer on the club, Harris is also the only underclassman on the starting 5.
I don't think you can say enough about Matty. He's such a cool customer, and he's only a junior. He makes the big shot when you need it. He guards the toughest offensive guard. He makes rebounds when you don't think he's going to get them. He steals the ball when you don't think he just comes up with great plays night in and night out, consistent.
You know, each summer I've been working hard, you know, at different things, and try to improve on my dribbling, ball handling, and I've just, you know, enjoyed it, you know. Since there's, you know, 2 juniors on the team, and I know I figured next year will be more like a rebuilding year, I'm just trying to enjoy it now, you know, enjoy everything now, and, you know, my role will probably change, and I'm just trying to have fun now, you know.
One of the mainstays on this year's Strong Vincent team is 6'4" senior John Blanks. He's scoring at a pace of over 13.5 points per game, and Blanks has been Strong Vincent's cleanup man under the boards.
he's so big and strong. I don't think John really knows how good he can be. And hopefully in the next couple of years, whether it's football or basketball, he's going to realize his potential in college. He's our leading assist man, our second leading rebounder, our third leading scorer, and really our spiritual leader. He just keeps everybody loose. You see that big smile, and that just keeps everybody loose. He's just a wonderful kid.
But mainly, I just get the rebounds when I need to and score when I have to. Most of the time, I like to play defense a lot, rather than that.
Why do you like defense more than, say, scoring sometimes?
I feel that's the thing we need to do to win the game, so I would rather play defense. I would like to score, but I'd rather play defense more.
And finally, 6'6" senior Anthony Dickens is Strong Vincent's primary weapon when the Colonels go inside. Averaging over 16.5 points per game, Dickens often puts the finishing touches on challenging teams. His spectacular performance against Beaver Falls in the Western Finals illustrated Dickens' potential. He finished with 19 points, 18 rebounds, 9 assists, and 1 block shot.
And in the middle, we got Mr. Dickens, and I don't know if there's adjectives to describe him. He's a great player. He's a great kid. He's worked so hard to be a good player. He's spent so much time on it, and I got a lot of respect for him. I got a little choked up thinking about him. He's a great kid and a great player.
Well, it is a little tough going around the men and trying to get the ball and not getting over the backs or anything, but I like it in there. Just controlling the boards and showing that I can, contribute to the team.
And what about the team's depth? Well, although it appears to be a major weakness, Flynn refutes that claim.
I don't think that we've played a lot of kids, but when we do play our reserves, they do an excellent job. Like the last 2 games, Kevin Beard's just played tremendous. And earlier in the year, Danny Pelton was just playing super. He's been struggling a little lately. Sean McLaurin always does a great job when he gets in there. So Rob Wiley, he does a good job. But it's not that we don't have them. But those kids that are out there, those 5, they just have such a good chemistry. I hate to break it up. And if we need to sub, we will. If you look at Nanticoke, they don't sub at all. I got a little report on them saying that they don't put the reserves in until they're 30 points ahead or 30 points behind, which they haven't been 30 points behind this year.
A reminder, we're going to be sending you live to Hershey for the start of the Strong Vincent Nanticoke contest at 8:30 and our exclusive coverage of the PIAA State Championship game. Now, this is also a new experience for head coach Pete Flynn. It's his first trip to a state championship game. In fact, for Strong Vincent, it's the first time they've traveled to a state final since way back in 1932. In a moment, I'll speak with former prep coach Bill Flaherty, who led the Ramblers to appearances in Hershey back in 1980 and in 1984. Continuing with our Strong Vincent pregame show, I'm John Evans, and with me here in the studio we have Bill Flaherty, the former head basketball coach at Cathedral Prep High School. Bill, of course, led his team to the state finals last year in Quad A down in Hershey against Williamsport. Thanks for joining us tonight, Bill.
Oh, it's always a pleasure, especially when we have another area team competing for a state championship, Jim.
The matchup tonight in AAA, Strong Vincent and Nanticoke. What are your thoughts about these 2 teams in the ballgame tonight?
Well, I only know Vincent. And Vincent, of course, is just that, a team. They have great balance inside, and their 2 guards complement each other. And I think their greatest asset is, I think, Pete Flynn, their coach, has stressed the fact that they play good defense. And I think that their greatest asset there is they play good team defense. Likewise, and then when they go to the offense, they can play good team offense. They're very unselfish. They look for the open man. Nanticoke, according to the past anyway, I don't know much about them specifically, but Eastern ball will be a little bit more zone than they are pressure man than what we're used to. So I think if our kids play that pressure man like they're capable of, we might have an advantage, because I just don't think the East is ready for that kind of basketball.
Last year at this time, we were carrying the game featuring the Ramblers and the Williamsport Millionaires. We're looking at some of the highlights from that game last year, and Bill, it has to bring back a lot of fond memories for you.
Oh, it does. Everybody worries sometimes about the loss, John, but the fact that the kids had that opportunity. I think the great thing about a state championship in high school athletics is it's an experience for young people. We had, we played well. A couple breaks here or there would have gone the other way. Williamsport was undefeated. They had a good ball club. They were a good team. We were a good team. And I think when you get in those situations, the experience that the kids go through is worth 1,000 words and 1,000 pictures. And when you're playing, though, it's funny. You don't have time to think about it. It's more fun when you're not playing. You can think about all those things, I guess.
Bill, now you've been out coaching for several months, sat out this year. Did you have any strange feelings, or how did you feel about not being in there and being on the bench?
Oh, you go to the game still as a coach. If you view a game pretending to be a spectator, I don't think you ever become a spectator. It's been a good year in a lot of ways. I've done a lot of positive things as far as working in different areas in leadership training with groups and some motivation workshops. But I did miss teaching the game of basketball. I missed the relationship with the kids. It's something that it's hard to explain unless you've been there. And I did miss that. It was a different year in a lot of ways, a good year in a lot of ways too. But when I see a game, I still am wondering why the kid didn't do this or why he didn't do that. But, they're still kids.
Any chance that we may see Bill Flaherty come out of retirement and maybe take a college coaching job on down the line?
I don't know if there's any open, are there?
We know that this week you spoke with Coach Pete Flynn of Strong Vincent. And what exactly did you two talk about?
Well, I, complimented him and congratulated him. And I said, is there anything I could help you with? And he said, yeah. And I guess I talked to him more about the off-the-court things and dealing with what we had done in the past. I don't know if it's relative to what they do as a team. But when you spend 5-6 months together as a team, you usually develop a personality. And so we did things maybe differently than other people would do them, but whatever is comfortable. I talked to him about the leisure time, the free time, and how to take up that time with the kids so that they just wouldn't think about the game. And some of them maybe have never seen the Capitol. I mentioned take the bus down around the Capitol. I said make sure they get some time at the chocolate factory. Kids enjoy that, and about practice, we didn't spend a lot of hours in a demanding practice. We had fun when we practiced because there's not a whole lot you can do except go over your scout report and keep everybody busy, don't get overtired, keep the legs strong, keep the mind free, and try to approach it as a game as they would in a normal school day.
There are so many distractions when you get into the Hershey Park Arena or any state championship game, I would suppose, with the large crowd, strange court, and it's probably tough to think of it as just another ball game.
Oh, it is. We were blessed with the fact that we had traveled overnight and played the next day and stayed in motels and things. But I did mention to him also, I said, make sure the kids go down to either the girls' game or the boys' game and go in the entrance that you will that night of the game, because that's where the kids can go. And I said, sit down on the floor, and even if you stay a half, just to get the feel of the floor. Don't sit up in the stands. And he said, well, that was interesting. He said, I said, well, it's really important. And I said, when they come in that evening for the game, I said, you won't have any problem with it. So tonight, I hope they did that. We'll probably be able to tell by the second quarter how relaxed they are.
One nice thing about this time of the year, we saw it last year, the entire city and all of northwestern Pennsylvania gets behind the basketball team, and it's really a great thing for this part of the state.
Well, I think we have to, and I think we ought to appreciate, even sometimes I don't think we appreciate enough how lucky we are, the dedication of the kids and the coaches and their work and just their dedication to accomplishing and reaching for a goal. You wait 50-some years, as 1980 when we won, it was very much appreciated. And now in the last 2 years, 3 years, we had the Villa down there, I think, in a final game. We were in the final game last year, and this year, Strong Vincent competing for that. So I think we in Erie in the last 5-6 years ought to appreciate the efforts of our young people and the kinds of things they're doing on a positive note to represent us.
Well, Bill, we appreciate the fact that you joined us tonight on our pregame show. Thanks again.
Well, I hope it's a happy night for us.
And the Strong Vincent pregame show will continue right after this. The competition for the Colonels tonight comes from Nanticoke of District 2. The Trojans of Coach Sil Bozinski have compiled a 27-3 record this season and have won 21 straight games. After 31 years, Coach Bozinski is stepping down from the Wilkes-Barre area school after tonight's game. The Nanticoke players have made it known that they want to win this one for the coach. We'll be telling you more about Nanticoke when we start our coverage from Hershey. In the meantime, we have a special feature which spotlights some of the memories of this unbelievable season the Strong Vincent Colonels have enjoyed. Our Greg Yoko has compiled this feature on the Colonels and the game they play so well.
In the NBA, the forwards, the centers, and all the guards, the ones you see on the bubblegum cards.
Thanks for joining us on the Strong Vincent pregame show. I'd like to take a moment to thank Greg Yoko for his help in putting together the pregame program, and also to our directors Mark Zoni and Mitch Spear. Now sit back, relax, and get ready to enjoy TV24's exclusive live coverage of the Strong Vincent Nanticoke basketball game from Hershey. I'm John Evans, and I'll see you later tonight after the game. Congratulations to the Strong Vincent Colonels from TV 24.
Tonight, Jet TV Action Sports presents live from the Hershey Park Arena in Hershey, Pennsylvania, PIAA Playoff Basketball.
Hello, everybody. This is Joe Zone, live from the Hershey Arena. Paul Olis to my left, Ken White to my right. It's the boys' AAA final. You already know that. Paul Olis, a little bit about Nanticoke. They've won 22 in a row.
Well, Joe, Nanticoke, a team of destiny, trying to write the finishing chapter to the Cinderella story for head coach Sil Bazinski. Getting to the playoffs, well, they marched all over Yorktown, beating Central York, York Suburban, and then, of course, York Catholic, and sandwiching a big victory over Allentown Central Catholic, last year's defending champion.
All right, and Ken White, you've got a team that's only lost one basketball game all year.
1 out of 29, Joe, and they too have been rolling right through the playoffs, and none of the playoff games were even close. Vincent dominated every single game, including the Western Finals against Beaver Falls, where the Colonels obviously won that game to play Nanticoke here tonight.
All right, obviously we've got two first-class teams. We're going to find out a little bit more about them. We'll be back. Stay with us right after this.
Are 28-1. They've won their last 10 ball games right in a row. They defeated Southmoreland, Elwood City, Aliquippa in the playoffs, then went on to play Beaver Falls, where the Colonels won by a final score of 57-44. John Evans has a look at the Strong Vincent Colonels.
The Strong Vincent Colonels on the road to Hershey. It was just last year that the Cathedral Prep Ramblers renewed the reputation of Erie basketball when they made the trek to Hershey for the Pennsylvania Boys Quad A state championship game. In 1985, the Strong Vincent Colonels have strengthened the image of District 10 hoops by advancing to the AAA finals with a sparkling 28-1 record. After just the first 4 games of the season, area basketball fans were already taking note of Coach Pete Flynn's Strong Vincent club. 3 of the team's first 4 victories were by more than 25 points. Led by a veteran squad, the Colonels raced to an 18-0 start. While dominating the Erie Metro League, Strong Vincent also defeated a handful of independent opponents on the way. After a 45-43 loss to Youngstown Rayen, the Red and Black bounced back to close their regular season campaign with 3 wins. The club's victory over Erie McDowell allowed Strong Vincent to capture the Erie Metro League title with a perfect 12-0 slate. While most high school teams rely on a potent offense, the trademark of the Colonels is their lightning-quick defense. In Strong Vincent's 7 playoff games, they've held their challengers to an average of under 48 points, while defeating them by no less than 11. The Colonels like to mix it up on defense. They'll apply a press and force a turnover, or they'll wait and anticipate an opponent's mistake. Whatever the case, the Red and Black defense usually accounts for the difference between a win instead of a loss. On offense, Coach Flynn's crew is just as versatile. They enjoy an up-tempo game using their speed and quickness to their full advantage. The Colonels can also slow things down and use a very patient half-court offense. In Vincent's District 10 playoff opener against Franklin, it was a typical Colonel contest. The game was close for the first 3 quarters, but Coach Flynn's team pulled away in the final stanza. John Blanks and Matt Harris knocked in 22 points apiece as Vincent topped Franklin 79-51. The next victim on the Colonel's slate was Sharon, but the Tigers didn't stop the streaking Red and Black either as Vincent defeated Sharon 71-47. The District 10 championship contest was probably Vincent's toughest playoff opponents thus far. The Academy Lions kept clawing away at every Colonel lead before finally falling 82-71. In 31 games this season, the Lions of Academy are the only team to score more than 58 points against the Vincent defense. They did it twice, yet it wasn't enough to stop the Colonels from claiming the District 10 championship. Games didn't get much more difficult in interdistrict play for Strong Vincent. They dropped Southmoreland by a 47-30 count, then outscored Elwood City by 17, downing them 58-41, before disposing of the Quips of Aliquippa 68-50. These triumphs in playoff action set the stage for last Tuesday's Western Pennsylvania final against Beaver Falls. Again, the game was close for the most part before the Colonels pulled away in the 4th. Leading just 26-20 at the half, Coach Flynn watched the Tigers come charging back to tie the contest at 28, but Strong Vincent gradually took charge in front by 7 after 3 periods, en route to a 57-44 win and the Western Pennsylvania bid to the state tourney.
A lot of people didn't think the Nanticoke Trojans would be playing here today. That's because of their slow start. Tim Carlson has the rundown on how Nanticoke got to this game.
Looking at Nanticoke on paper at the start of the season, it was hard not to put them in the top contender category in the Wyoming Valley League's Division I. But as Coach Sil Basinski said, their 6-3 start didn't show it.
With the new PIA regulations, we didn't get an early start, so we were kind of sluggish early in the season. We lost a couple exhibition games that I felt we shouldn't have, but I knew the timing wasn't there and the matter wasn't there, and everything just wasn't in sync.
In those first 9 games, the Trojans would suffer their total of 3 losses of the year. One to an always tough GAR high school club that found the formula to win by 10. After winning their next 3 in a row, Nanticoke dropped 2 straight. The first in a holiday tournament championship game. The second to a Class 4A team from Hazleton. From then on, Nanticoke put it all together, winning most of the remaining first-half league games by lopsided margins, and headed into a first-half playoff with Hazleton, one of 3 teams to beat them. But the Trojans won it big, 62-39, and seemed to be gelling as a unit. On the way to becoming the second-half Wyoming Valley League champions, Nanticoke dominated most teams they went up against, playing an always adequate defense, allowing an average of 52 points per game while scoring 67. The biggest scare in the second half was a hard-fought game with Hazleton. It took 3 overtimes for the Trojans to come out on top, 60-57, and put themselves in the driver's seat to win the second half outright. Nanticoke cruised in their final 5 league games, winning their league title. It was on to District 2 playoffs some 2 weeks later.
The 2-week layoff at the end of the season didn't help us at all, and we were a little sluggish and a little stagnant going into the district.
Nanticoke won the District 2 quarterfinal by just 3 points, and it was apparent they'd have to work harder to go further in the playoffs. Another close call in the District 2 semifinal against Scranton Prep. This time a 2-point win, the Trojans having to come from behind to pull off the victory. But then in the final versus Dallas, their act was together, winning by 16 points and moving into inter-district playoffs.
By the time we hit the 3rd district game and then in the inter-district play, we've come back and we've been playing excellent ball.
Nanticoke was not to be denied in the inter-districts, their fast break offense knocking off Central York in the first round. York Suburban in the quarterfinal, and Allentown Central Catholic in the Eastern semifinal by margins of no less than 8 points. In the Eastern final, the Trojans ran up against another team with just 3 losses, York Catholic. But this time it was defense that saw Nanticoke come out on top of a 50-40 score. The state AAA Eastern title was theirs, and so was a winning streak of 21 straight, a 27-3 record as they headed into the state AAA final against Erie's Strong Vincent.
We're pretty much at the point where we were at the end of the second half, and I thought we were at our best.
Well, there you saw how the roads were both paved for the Colonels and the Trojans to get right here at the Hershey Park Arena for the AAA 1985 championship. Actually, the Colonels averaging about 64 points a game, and the Trojans averaging 67. Somewhat similar there, but the Colonels of Erie Strong Vincent have allowed only 41 points to their last 4 opponents, while the Trojans, of course, they have big assets on the foul line. So we'll find out how it's going to turn out. They're ready for the introduction of the lineups, and we'll be back at the Hershey Park Arena with the tap-off after this.
On behalf of the people of Erie, I would like to extend our heartiest congratulations to Coach Flynn, his coaching staff, the faculty, students, and particularly the fine young men who make up this outstanding basketball team. The basketball squad is certainly a credit to their school and to the Erie community. We are confident the Strong Vincent Colonels will be victorious in their quest for the PIAA State Basketball Championship.
Paid for by the candidate.